The Road to English Fluency, Emma's Story. Emma Williams lived in a small town nestled in the hills of England. From an early age, she was fascinated by languages. While English was her first language, Emma was particularly drawn to foreign languages. Her dream was always to become a translator, helping people from different cultures communicate and share their ideas with the world. However, there was a challenge standing in her way: Emma's fear of speaking English fluently. You might wonder why someone from an English-speaking country would struggle with their own language, but the truth was Emma didn't feel confident in her speaking skills. Though she could read and write English fairly well, she had trouble speaking without stumbling over words, mispronouncing them, or losing her train of thought. Emma's fear of speaking started when she was in school. She would often be asked to read aloud in front of the class or give short presentations, and her nerves would get the best of her. She would rush through the words, unable to form the sentences correctly, which only made her feel more embarrassed. She would compare herself to her classmates, who seemed to speak fluently with ease. They always seemed so confident, and Emma envied them. "I will never be as good as they are," Emma thought to herself on many occasions. "Maybe I'm just not cut out for this." But despite her insecurities, Emma didn't give up. She knew that if she wanted to pursue her dream of becoming a translator, she had to conquer her fear of speaking English. She had a long way to go, but she was determined. She decided that she would take one small step at a time, even if it meant making mistakes along the way. One morning, as Emma was walking to her favorite cafe in town, she noticed a sign on the bulletin board: "English Conversation Club, join us to improve your speaking skills. All levels welcome." Her heart skipped a beat. This was the opportunity she had been waiting for. Emma knew that if she joined the club, she would have a chance to practice speaking in a supportive environment. It would be a chance to face her fear of speaking head-on. That afternoon, Emma walked into the cafe where the English Conversation Club met. The room was filled with people of different ages and backgrounds, all sitting in small groups, having casual conversations. Emma was nervous, but she reminded herself that everyone was there to learn and improve, just like her. She approached a table where a few people were chatting and introduced herself. "Hi, I'm Emma. I'm here to practice my English speaking skills," she said, trying to sound confident. The people at the table welcomed her with warm smiles. One of them, a woman named Sarah, looked at Emma and said, "I'm Sarah." "Nice to meet you, Emma. Don't worry, we're all here to practice, and no one will judge you." Emma felt a little more at ease. She joined the conversation and began talking about her favorite hobbies. At first, her words were slow, and she stumbled over a few sentences. But the group was kind and patient, encouraging her to continue. As the conversation went on, Emma started to feel more comfortable. She began to speak more fluently, though she still made mistakes. But instead of feeling embarrassed, she felt supported. Everyone in the group was in the same boat, learning together. Over the next few weeks, Emma continued to attend the English Conversation Club. Every time she walked into the cafe, she felt a little more confident. She learned to embrace her mistakes, knowing they were part of the learning process. She started making new friends in the group, and they often practiced English together outside of the club as well. One evening, after a particularly long conversation practice, Sarah came up to Emma and said, "You've really improved, Emma. You're speaking so much more confidently now." Emma smiled, feeling a sense of pride. "Thanks, Sarah. I've been trying to push myself to speak more, even when I'm nervous." Sarah nodded. "That's the key. The more you speak, the more natural it will feel. You've made so much progress already, and I know you'll keep getting better." Encouraged by Sarah's words, Emma began setting small goals for herself. She made a commitment to speak English for at least 30 minutes every day, whether it was practicing with friends, reading aloud, or even talking to herself in the mirror. The more she practiced, the more confident she became. Emma realized that it wasn't just about speaking perfectly, it was about being brave enough to try, even when she wasn't sure of herself. One day, Emma received an email from an international translation agency. They were looking for translators to help with a new project, and they had seen Emma's resume. Emma had applied to the agency months earlier, but she didn't expect to hear back so soon. The email requested that she come in for an interview, which would be conducted in English. At first, Emma was overwhelmed with anxiety. The thought of speaking English in an interview, especially with professionals, made her stomach turn. She was still nervous about speaking fluently, and the idea of having to prove herself in front of experts felt daunting. But then, Emma remembered everything she had worked for, the countless hours spent practicing, the conversations she had pushed herself to have, and the support she had received from the English Conversation Club. She reminded herself that she had come so far, and this was an opportunity she couldn't pass up. The night before the interview, Emma spent hours preparing. She practiced speaking about her experience, her skills, and why she was passionate about translation. She recorded herself speaking and listened back, making notes on areas she could improve. She also made sure to review any translation projects she had worked on, so she felt ready to discuss them in English. The next morning, Emma walked into the interview room, her heart racing. The interviewers greeted her with a friendly smile and began asking her questions about her experience. Emma took a deep breath and began answering. She stumbled a few times, but she didn't let it stop her. She focused on speaking clearly and conveying her ideas, even if her sentences weren't perfect. She knew that this was her chance to prove herself, and she gave it her all. By the end of the interview, Emma felt exhausted but proud. She had faced her fears, and even though it hadn't been perfect, she knew she had done her best. When the interviewers said, "We're impressed with your skills, Emma. You've got the job," Emma could hardly believe it. She had done it. She had faced her fears, worked hard, and landed her dream job. In the following months, Emma continued to improve her English speaking skills. She attended the English Conversation Club regularly, kept practicing with friends, and sought out new opportunities to speak English. She knew that fluency wouldn't happen overnight, but she had learned to embrace the journey. She also learned that speaking wasn't about being perfect, it was about being confident, making mistakes, and learning from them. Emma's story is a reminder that anyone can achieve their goals, no matter how difficult the journey may seem. With perseverance, practice, and the courage to keep trying, you can overcome your fears and become the person you've always dreamed of being. English, or any language, is a skill that requires time and dedication. Don't be afraid to speak, make mistakes, and keep learning. Your dreams are within reach.